Hey, everybody, Tuesdays are for doing, and that's what we're going to do today. So, hey, get your books out. We're going to go and figure out how to execute our game plan. Again, planning to plan the plan for the sake of planning is dumb. You need to execute it. And listen, I have no scientific proof of this, but Tuesdays are the most productive days of the week. And the reason is because we already planned our future. So we all know what we need to get done. We just need to pick a day of the week to do it. Tuesdays. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go through our workbook for 5 things that we're going to actually execute this week. Okay. We're going to talk about donor visits. We're going to talk about making donor asks, and not necessarily all about money. Yep, that's true. We're going to talk about sponsorship solicitation. We're going to talk about volunteer recruitment and anything that we can do to move the needle forward with action. Let's talk about donor visits really quick. Yeah, we got to go visit donors. Zoom, phone, in person, yes, is what we really want to accomplish. The reason we set up a lot of these meetings is so that we can actually read people's faces. We can talk to them about stories of impact, etc. That's what we really want to accomplish in this week. And once we get in front of that donor for those meetings and those visits, we're going to make asks. Not necessarily all about money. Remember, if we are constantly asking all of our supporters for money, and that's the only thing that we get in front of them for, they're going to stop having us over for coffee. They're going to stop meeting us out. They're going to stop interacting with us completely. Now, we want to make an ask for something, but if it's only money, they're going to know exactly why we're calling in the first place. And they already know we're fundraisers. We're development people. We're program folks. We need money to survive and thrive for what we do and the impact that we make. We get it. But if that's all we're asking for, and we're not having meetings for the sake of saying thank you or celebrating wins, etc., we're doing ourselves a disservice, and we're shooting ourselves in the foot because they are looking for a relationship. So let's get that out of the way. Let's talk about those things. Sponsorship solicitation. We've got events coming up. We've got a list of things that we need to accomplish and underwrite for our events. That's one of the action items that we're going to talk about going through. What about volunteers? What sort of organization do you have? And are there opportunities for people to figure out if they really like what you do, or recruit new people into being donors through the door of volunteerism? That's totally great and underutilized avenue for gifts. Volunteers. Somebody who volunteers every day or every week are the perfect people to chase after for legacy giving in the first place. We'll explain that in a little bit. And then anything we can do to move the needle forward. Is there an emergency that we need to fundraise for? Is there something that we need to reach out and have a conversation with as far as media and marketing and that kind of thing? What can we do to progress this organization forward through our actions? Getting ready? Let's go. Let's start with this, okay? So one of the things that we want to talk about out of the gate is donor visits. Now, how important are donor visits? Very. Part of the problem in nonprofit world is there's no end game, right? It's always on to the next thing. So let's talk about a priority for a quick win. Who can we meet with right away to maybe kickstart our week? Who are the priorities that we need to have and make sure that we're meeting with them? But what's a quick win? Is there somebody who's like a super champ of your organization? Let's go meet with them. Let's ask them for something. Let's just talk to them about our organization. Let's get them to pump us up so that the rest of our week can be momentum builders rather than just sort of falling flat. I personally like to have really easy conversations earlier in the week and the tougher ones down the road, because I'm building my momentum. I'm building kind of steam and my storytelling. I'm getting better all the time. And all of a sudden on that Thursday or Friday, we're having meetings with somebody who's a very big, high capacity donor. I'm already on top of it, right? Because I've had all these quick wins that we can equate to. Who's a volunteer in your organization? Who's a champion donor? Who's somebody who picks up the phone all the time you write thank you notes to? Have a meeting with that person. Build your confidence in your asks early on in the week. Try getting somebody like that. Who needs to be connected with for a little bit of extra TLC? Sometimes we don't do a great job of saying thank you, or sometimes we forget something or somebody within our network. Let's execute a TLC emergency donor meeting this week. So who do we need to spend time a little bit? Maybe somebody got burned. Maybe they maybe got sick. Maybe they haven't been feeling well. Maybe they haven't been treated well. Maybe they're just having a hard week. You notice that on Facebook. Set a meeting. Have a meeting with somebody who needs a little bit of your enthusiasm and your positivity. That's a great donor visit to have. And it's a great one to get out of the way. Do your donors like coffee? Do you need to eat? Yeah, you probably do. And having whatever you're microwaving there is probably not as healthy as you could to go out and just have a bite to eat with the donor. There's nothing better than sharing a meal with anybody. But let's prioritize based on what they're going to give to you as the organization. Nobody wants to bring a brand new donor who has no proven capacity or affinity for your organization to a nice like seafood tower or like a giant ribeye steak dinner. No. Coffee meetings for those who are just sort of happy to talk with you about stuff. Your larger dinners, your larger lunches for your larger donors. And that's not fair. Maybe it's not. But that's kind of how I would prioritize those, because you want to have them latch onto your organization, right? So plan a meeting, plan something to get out there, right? So let's some of our goals for the week: 1 meeting with a donor, plan it. 1 meeting with a new prospect or a new potential donor, and then 1 meeting with a past donor that you need to either rekindle the fire with or somebody that you haven't heard or talked to in a long time. 3 donor meetings a week over the course of an entire year. That's a lot of donor meetings that I think you can have. And that's actually just face-to-face one-on-ones. If you wanted to bump it up more, great. Go get them, Tiger. You're going to do awesome things. But I think just having a minimum of 3 donor meetings a week is totally acceptable, especially when you're a small, medium-sized nonprofit trying to ramp up some of your motivation kind of things like there. All right, so let's talk about donor asks. I want to spend a little bit more time on here because I think it's super important to know that not everything has to do with money. It should. These are donor meetings, etc., but they don't necessarily all have to. So let's go in order of what we should be asking for. Let's ask for a donor for a new gift. Let's ask a donor for the same gift as last year. Let's ask a donor for a larger gift. How about a new meeting or the next meeting? And then maybe a new name to your database of people that you should be meeting with, okay? Those are the 5 things that we're going to talk about. And jot down these things in the ebook. Let's talk about new gifts. If you're meeting with somebody who has the affinity for your organization, you've got a spot for them, and now is the right time, you feel the gut instinct, let's ask them for new money. How much do you ask for? That's probably like, what do you ask them for? Great question. Are they somebody with high capacity that's really into your organization, or are they someone you don't know their capacity? You just want to get them a gift in the system as a proving ground that you're the right fit for them as an organization. Either way. So let's just say, let's use $100 as your benchmark. No reason you can't have 20. No reason you can't have 10,000. Whatever you feel comfortable with and what fits your organization. Okay. I don't want to put words or actions into your mouth, but actually ask them for a new gift. Your gift of $100 is going to do X, Y, and Z. Is that something that you consider? That's your ask. That's it. That's as simple as you need to be. Hey, for $100, your gift is going to make this impact in the community. Is that something that you would be comfortable doing? And they're going to give you a yes or no answer. You're going to move on with your life. That's a new gift. That's great. But what if you're meeting with a donor who was previously given $100? What if they tell you a story that doesn't really give you the confidence that they're ready to make an increase? Here's your ask. Hey, I know you made a gift of $100 last year. Is that something you can do again this year? I know you made a gift of $100 last year. Is that a commitment that you can make to us again this year? Feels good. Doesn't really, no high pressure. Hey, just repeating what you've done in previous years. That's a great ask, okay? But what if you get an inkling in the back of your mind that these people either hit the lottery, sold a business, are doing really, really well, or they're giving you hints? Hey, we brought 20 of our closest friends on our dime down to Mexico. Okay, you've got some money. I'm going to make a bigger ask. Can position this in 2 ways. One, hey, would you consider a gift of $150 this year for doing this, this, and this? I know you gave $100 last year, but we're asking some of our best supporters and biggest cheerleaders to give a little bit of extra so we can go that extra mile to those that we serve. It's a great ask. Doesn't seem too hard. Doesn't seem too intimidating. Or go above and beyond. Hey, we're looking for some of our biggest supporters to increase their gifts. I know last year that you gave $100. Is an increase something that you'd be interested in? Let them fill in the blank, right? Depending on how comfortable you are with individuals within your donor database, great ways to do it both. But sometimes they're going to tell you a story that they lost their job or they're having a really bad time at home. Donors tell you really, really weird things. But some of the time that you're going to have to do this is figuring out if they are the right fit for the right level. And if they're not, you need to backtrack a little bit. So instead of asking them for money, maybe you need to set another meeting. And that meeting might be sometime in the near future, sometime later, a couple of months from now, depending on what they say. So, hey, I know it's not a really good time to make a particular ask. Would you like to meet up in the next couple of weeks and let you know how this campaign is going? Or, hey, thanks so much for meeting with me. Just abort the whole thing completely and don't ask them for any money. I'd love to touch base in the next couple of weeks, give you kind of an update on where we are and really see how things are going with you as well. You don't need to mention anything about money. All you need to put is a pause. And actually, a non-ask ask is a pretty powerful statement. They will wonder why you didn't ask them for money. They will maybe ask, well, is there anything else I can do? Okay, now they've given you a verbal indication that they want to play ball. But you being self-aware about what's going on in their life is super important. And so ask questions so that you can constantly figure out what position they are in their financial position, and then to back off when you seem necessary. Now, I'm not giving you permission not to make asks anyway, because it's super important to make asks for money, but be self-aware. It's kind of what I'm saying. And then, hey, are there any other people that I need to meet with? If you get a yes for a dollar amount, keep going. Get lots of yeses. Who else would be interested in your circle on what we do as an organization? Anybody else that you could introduce me to? That's an ask. It's not monetary. They don't feel it's like coming out of their checkbook, which means they'd be more willing to do it. And if you have somebody who has high affinity for your organization, picture perfect. Okay. So some of your goals for this week are, hey, face-to-face meetings, if you can make them. Don't make email asks if you can have a face-to-face meeting, because I think it's super important to do that. But get out there and make an ask. New money, same money as last year, more money as last year. Next meeting, new name. And you've got this. This is super great. Let's talk about sponsorships. Let's execute and do sponsorships. What businesses have previously supported you at the organization or at the events that you're soliciting for? That's a first priority. Low-hanging fruit. People who already know exactly what your organization does and what events that you have done. Mwah, go get them. And then go ask them the same thing as we made an ask. More, same, new, depending on where the businesses are. From your current donors, what employers from your current donors might be good opportunities for you to connect with and meet with? A lot of individuals give out of two pockets, personal and their business. Now you want the personal because that's the most amount of money. It's the most meaningful. But there's a lot of sponsorship dollars in those pockets that if you have access to, all of a sudden you gain some additional eyeballs from potential workers who are there who don't know about your organization, et cetera. So that's a really good idea. Hey, are there staff members or volunteers? What businesses do they work at that they might be willing to share? Is it a spouse of a coworker? Is it a partner of a coworker that might be interested in sponsoring your event? It's a good lead. You might not get the full-on title sponsorship out of the gate, but I think small gifts like that actually start. So as part of your to-do and your task list is part of your planning, look at previous donors and previous business sponsorships. Those are a home run right away. Look through who have maybe donated multiple times in a year or multiple events, maybe pool them together as a creative way to make an ask, but get out there and make some asks for your sponsors. Those are, remember, we talked about little quick wins to kind of build momentum. Those are really easy, quick wins to do right out of the gate because they already know who you are. They probably had a great time at your event anyway. Pretty easy asks. Let's talk about volunteer recruitment. This is a really good way to get new blood in your nonprofit. What social clubs have you not talked to? How can you get in front of those and speak about your organization and maybe present volunteer opportunities? A Rotary Club, a Lions Club, an Optimist Club, whatever those are in town, there's probably a lot of them. And they probably hear, sort of the same song and dance of like, hey, we're looking for money. What if you went there to look for volunteers or perspective? It's a great opportunity. They're always looking for presenters. They're always looking to kind of buttress their own meeting. So what value can you provide? Well, they need to do volunteer work. It's part of their charter, more likely. So this is a great opportunity for you to do that. Who's a rock star volunteer that you can recruit to bring along with you to donor meetings? So maybe this is an action item that you get to use, which is figure out who loves your organization as much as you do, but doesn't get paid. I think you should talk to that person, have a meeting with that person and ask them to be your champion. Third-party solicitation is way more important than first-party solicitation. And the reason is because nobody expects somebody who's not paid by the organization to make asks because they're so excited about it. But that third-party endorsement is so critical. So bring along your rock star volunteer. Why not? And then how can you connect in your community with organizations that aren't a part of yours, right? So how do you connect maybe an organization with somebody who is not yours or not a good fit? We'll talk about this later in celebration and appreciation, but like, how can you be that organization that just connects the dots to other people? Having an abundance mindset with volunteers is the same as having an abundance mindset with donors. There's plenty of them out there. There's so much opportunity for everybody, and maybe everybody isn't aligned with your group, and that's okay. But if you get in front of a group and you think, boy, they're not for us, but this other organization that we really like might be really beneficial for them. How cool would it be to say, hey, Phyllis, I got a whole group aligned for you. Well, what do you want? Nothing. I just thought you'd be a good fit. You become this almost wonderful connector person. And that's really a cool thing to have on your resume as somebody who just reaches out and says that. The final thing that you want to do on a Tuesday is make sure that you have some sort of actions to move the needle forward. Let's hypothetically say you've got an emergency need at your organization. Well, this is a great way to reach out to your donor database and say, hey, we need to make asks to as many people as possible. We need to raise 10 grand in 10 days, because if not, we're going to lose this program. Do you need monetary gifts, in-kind gifts? What do you need, right? So plan on what you need and then write out who would be a good fit for that, right? So what do you need to ask donors for this week? Do you need any additional names to your donor database? Who can you connect with for new names? Do you need a celebrity or an influencer? That's a big hot thing right now. Is there somebody within your network that knows somebody who would be willing to speak well on your behalf? Make that meeting happen. It's not as weird as you think anymore to have somebody on, Instagram or TikTok to say, hey, we really appreciate this organization, or I'm working with them. It's not weird. It'd be weird if you paid for it, though. I see some benefits in there. Don't do that. Don't do that, though. But ask somebody to kind of, hey, if you like us a lot, we'd love you to post on our behalf. That's something great. What opportunities do you have to expose your organizations to others? Is it showing up to a business ribbon cutting? Is it showing up to an open house and just passing along business cards? Not for donations, but just to meet and greet and get out there to make a connection. What chamber events are happening that you have not participated at but should probably show up? Bring a stack of business cards. And what emerging leadership events are you not attributed with, or what are you not a part of in your community yet? I think it's a really good opportunity to go out and do. Because again, that's what Tuesdays are for. You want to make sure that you've got enough momentum to lead in for the rest of the week. And Tuesdays are a great one for doing. So get out there and execute. And again, donor visits, donor asks, not all monetarily, mind you. Get out there and make some sponsorship asks, low-hanging fruit from people who have donated last year or the year prior to. They already know who you are. Make some volunteer connections. Speak at an organization. Connect somebody else with a volunteer organization. Make your presence known. It's moving the needle forward. Anything that you can do to do that. Tuesdays are for planning.